Something about walking outside dressed like this when it isn't even 7 in the morning is something else, let me tell you. Anyway, you can probably guess from my outfit what I'm seeing today. That's right, it's Newsies, and I'm going back with Connor. I don't know if he's going in costume actually, we'll find out. But I definitely am, because I didn't last time. Well, I did. I put my own spin on it, but this time I'm going full Newsy. So let's hope I get a paper. We're sat in the same seats last time, so I feel like it will be, same amount of immersion. And then tomorrow I'm going solo to the Book of Mormon again. Again, another bit of self-care. I'm going to the matinee tomorrow. I am so happy that currently 2 of my favourite shows, the matinees are back to back. It's so convenient. Anyway, I'm going to keep walking now. Maybe speed up a little bit, because I left my house a little bit late. But who cares? I also forgot to say, I have a little bit of a Newsies surprise for you. I can't really show you now while I'm walking. I'll hopefully show you on the train or breakfast or wherever I find a place to comfortably sit down, because I'm so excited about it. I'm settled down, I've got my coffee, all of that, just waiting for the train. This is what I wanted to show you that was Newsies related. I got a tattoo on my arm, it was my first one, and it says "The world is your oyster." You know the bit, and it's got a newspaper at the end. I got it yesterday and I absolutely love it. It didn't actually hurt as much as I thought it would, which, that's a good thing. It kind of felt a bit like a sunburn. But yeah, I've got some more in the works, but that one right now, it's all wrapped up. I have to keep the wrap on for a couple days. But yeah, that's my little surprise. I got a theatre tattoo. I'm really happy about it. Just a little update. I took the tattoo wrap off anyway, and it looks freaking awesome. So I'm on my train now to London. I did find out that Connor is also cosplaying, like me. He's going as Davy again, like he did last time, so I think we'll be a bit more of a matching pair this time round. This might be the last time I go to Newsies before it closes, so that's quite sad, but that means I'm also going to make the most of it, so I think it's going to be a good day. So I made it to Waterloo with a very shaky camera and a woman got in my shot, but the point was that I was now on my way to Connor's station to essentially pick him up before we would go to Wembley Park Theatre for the show. I never filmed this before, but this is the interior of like the front of house area. I mean, it used to be a studio, so it's quite different than other theatre front of houses, but oh my god, I felt so good stepping into this auditorium again. Like, it's a beautiful setup. We are in the same seats as before, but literally like one along. So I've got 2 next to me now, and I feel like they might stay empty, because... Do you want me to check? You can check. Hello, Connor. Hello. We in the theatre. Oh no, shit, my programme fell off by that.
Well, no shit, we're in the theatre now.
So I'm in AA 52 in the Bronx. Slay! Well, good morning. I had a good time at Newsies yesterday. It was really, really fun. Today, I'm dressed for Pride and also for Mormon, which I'm doing today. I just got outside my cousin's flat. It was a lovely night, really, really good. But yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the day, but I really, really kind of want to go back to the Waterstones in Trafalgar Square because I really want to get a book. And it's a massive bookstore, and I really want to get back into reading because I did a lot of it during lockdown, and then it just kind of stopped, and I got really mad at myself, so that's what we're going to do. And I might check out their cafe as well because I'm quite hungry. So yeah, see you around. So I did end up going to the massive Waterstones in Trafalgar Square, and I did pick up a book actually. I picked up a Norse mythology book by Neil Gaiman. I'm so excited because I love him as an author. The cafe atmosphere was actually really nice. It was really relaxing. I did some reading, and after a while I actually got a second coffee because, I had nothing better to do, and it was really nice. But then, I kind of legged it to Mormon, and this was my seat. I was in A17 of the stalls, and I was really excited. Okay, so I'm finally picking up the camera in the interval. We have Ben Tyler on his prize, and I absolutely love him. He really gives that sort of spoiled toddler energy, and the fact that he's about to cry and it's really funny. Anyway, I'm absolutely loving it so far, as always. I am sweating so goddamn much. It's so hot outside. Maybe I made a mistake getting a hot drink and something hot to eat, but I kind of need dinner, and all I've eaten today is cake and coffee and like half a piece of toast, so I think I need it. It was really, really good, no disappointments at all. I will talk more about Ben Tyler as Price because he was absolutely incredible. So yes, this time I'm going to be talking about Mormon, but oh my god, it was phenomenal. You might say something incredible, I've made that joke before, but oh well. Anyway, I'm just on my way home now. Nothing interesting, nothing new. This is what I mean when I say nothing new. It's a crack coffee. I am back in my little corner to have another chat about Newsies. This was my final time at Newsies, as I think I said in the start of the video somewhere. So when I was watching it, I was really, taking it in as my last time seeing the show before it closes, which is sad, but it made me notice a lot of cool little details that I never saw before. I don't know if you know this about me or if I've ever said it before, but I love good set and lighting choices. And Newsies does it. They really do it for me. So I have a bit on that. I also want to say a few things about Ben Tyler as Elder Price in the Book of Mormon, because that was my first Ben Tyler as Price. So yeah, this should be short and sweet, a little section to finish off this video. So on to Newsies. I will say we also had George Crawford on as Jack. I didn't want to touch on him too much because he kind of reminded me of Jeremy Jordan, which isn't a bad thing. I love Jeremy Jordan in Newsies in the pro shot. But yeah, they were quite similar in the way that he played Jack. One thing I will say about George though is that he put a lot more anger and emotion into Santa Fe than Michael does. Because I think I mentioned one thing that disappointed me a little bit about Michael's performance was that he wasn't emotionally attached to the story and the characters enough as Jack. So I mean, that's a compliment to George, obviously. But yeah, other than that, he was a bit too similar to Jeremy Jordan, in my opinion. It's not a bad thing because, it makes the character a bit more familiar to people who might have just seen the pro shot. But, I kind of say this thing of, I don't really like it when actors do a carbon copy of, like, the original one or a different one, Like, I like understudies to be a little bit different, which Michael does really well. And also, Ben Tyler also does that really, really well in Book of Mormon, but that's for later. So this Newsies section is going to be quite short and sweet. There are two things that I noticed when I was watching it, two clever lighting and set choices that I just want to rant about for a bit because I found them cool. The first one is the set for Pulitzer's office. Now, if you haven't seen the London version of the show, Pulitzer's office is kind of like this podium platform kind of thing that rolls onto the stage. And it's few steps leading up to like a chair and a desk and, all the
things that you find in an office. And the sort of steps and platform area are sort of made to look like folded up newspapers. Now obviously you can take that as like, you know, it shows that he's the head of this newspaper or whatnot, but also I feel like those papers also represent all the Newsies that are underneath him and below him in the system. And obviously a clever detail with this is obviously to get up to his desk and his chair and all of that, he has to step on the newspapers, so stepping on the Newsies, just like a little, you know, just a little bit of symbolism there. I also kind of like that it kind of ties into Jack's little like cartoon sketch painting whatever of Newsies Square, where Pulitzer's just stomping on them, so I feel like that's a nice parallel made with the set. I could be reading too far into that one and it might be a bit of a stretch, but you know, I like to imagine that. The second thing I noticed in Newsies was that after the song Brooklyn's Here, where they're all surrounding Pulitzer's office, they're all holding these lanterns which have a really nice orange glow, and honestly with the blue lighting they just look absolutely perfect. That's not my final point though. My final point is when they're all holding the lanterns and singing and all of that. In the audience I noticed that they also project tiny little orange lights onto the audience. And if you don't know the original sort of story that this is based on, the Newsies strike and the forming of the Newsboy Union, there were thousands of kids in the street protesting and all of that. They even say it in the song Once and For All. So each of those orange lights that are projected onto the audience sort of represent just how many kids were in this revolution and how big of a thing it was. Because obviously in cast you can't hire like thousands of people to be in a production, so you know, it's clever things like that that really show the audience how big of a deal this was. And another reason I like that they're all projected onto the audience is because it makes the audience feel like they're also a part of this revolution and strike. And this symbolism also comes into play with the seating plan. So the seating plan is laid out. We were sat in the Bronx. There's also Woodside, Richmond, Flushing, Brooklyn and Manhattan. I think that's all of them. Which again makes you feel like you're a part of this, especially in the song Brooklyn's Here. So for example, we're sat in the Bronx, and when they do "So it's the Bronx" in Brooklyn's Here, that was really bad, I'm sorry, but like when they do that bit, the actors are standing in that seating section, so you really feel like you're a part of that group, which is another clever way of showing the audience just how many people were a part of this. So yeah, that's a really powerful thing. I also want to quickly compliment Forrest Mason, who plays Joseph Pulitzer in the London version, because I prefer him so much to the Broadway cast. And I think it's because you're going into a Disney musical and you expect the villains to be Disney level quality. In the original Broadway cast, he's just plain villain, you know, sort of just a malicious guy. But in the London version, this guy just goes above and beyond. He kind of reminds me of Hades from Hercules, or like, yeah, let's go with Hades from Hercules. Like, he's so charismatic and he has a lot of animation to him. And he always does this kind of thing where he does all these sort of mocking movements towards Jack. He's very animated and very entertaining and funny. And I feel like that just reminds you that, yes, this is a Disney story, this is a Disney villain. So yeah, he's very animated and funny, and I feel like that's kind of the thing you need for this kind of story, because it is quite dark. The story of Newsies is quite dark, so I feel like you need a villain that's going to sort of balance that out, and he does that so perfectly. Also with Hannah and Bunsen, I think his name is, his two like little sidekicks. They're also absolutely hilarious, so I feel like it creates that sort of perfect Disney villain kind of trio. Like, it just brings back a bunch of nostalgia from old Disney movies and how a Disney villain should be. Yeah, he's just very animated and cool. Okay, moving swiftly and quickly on to Ben Tyler playing Elder Price. As I said earlier, he really played Elder Price as when he was a toddler, he was the most spoilt little brat in the world. Which is so perfect for the character, and you know, thinking that he's going to get everything that he wants like little spoiled kids do. And the reason I'm complimenting him on that is the fact that I found it really, really cool and interesting about how differently he plays the character from Dom. Ben kind of reminds me a bit more of Andrew Rannells, the original actor. But the differences between Dom and Ben are so interesting that I feel like I just have to point this thing out. He has this sort of attitude when he's paired with Cunningham, like he's the better one, he should be the one going out and doing everything and being deserving of everything that Heavenly Father's going to give him. And I feel like with Dom, he plays the character very regal, and proud and, honest. And I feel like with Dom's version of the character, he's completely oblivious to how upset he is making Cunningham feel. Whereas I feel like Ben Tyler, being that sort of spoilt brat and looking like he is going to cry at every single minor inconvenience, I feel like he knows exactly what he is doing to Cunningham and just doesn't care because he's the better one. So I found that really interesting. That was actually really cool to look at, to see variations of a character. And, obviously they never say stuff like that, like, oh, haha, I know I'm making you upset, whatever. But, like, you get the vibe that that's how they're playing the character, which I thought was really interesting. There were also some quirks with Ben that kind of makes me wish that Dom also did them. For example, this is pretty much the only example I can think of, but for example, after Elder Price gets the Bible shoved up his arse, and Cunningham comes to meet him in the coffee shop afterwards, when he sits back down, and I'm talking about Ben Tyler here, when he sits back down and obviously his arse has been just ripped apart, he does like a little yelp as he sits down as a bit of, comedic effect. Dom doesn't do anything, and it kind of makes it a bit, I don't know, it makes the sort of humour of the fact that he has to try and sit down after shitting out a Bible a bit like lost, like the comedic effect is lost because you're kind of expecting it, and then it doesn't happen. So I mean that's a little quirk about Ben that I liked. But yeah, it's really, really interesting to see how differently they play the characters, and yeah, it was nice to see a different variation of Price, and I think the variation of him being really spoiled and just not caring about how he's making others feel is just chef's kiss. I've also got some picture highlights from stuff that I took with people. I got one with Matthew Duckett, who plays Crutchy, and I also got one with Bobby Chambers. I think she's an ensemble member and she also covers Catherine and Hannah. I could be wrong, but I think that's, where I was going. But Bobby and Matt and a few others really, really loved my tattoo. It was a really positive response to that, which is really cool and cute and fun. And the next time you'll see me is for my birthday trip, seeing the Book of Mormon on my birthday, which should be really fun and sort of relaxed. I kind of want a chill birthday, so nothing too extreme, but yeah, that's the next time you'll see me, and then after that it's We Will Rock You, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, those were just a few thoughts from my trip. See ya!